What's good, everybody? It's your boy Adex here, and today we're going to be talking about one of the most explosive setups when it comes to trading the strat, and that is the infamous 3-1-2-2-2 continuation, or what I like to call the 3-1-2 see you later. Remember what a 3-1-2 strat combo is. It is a outside bar followed by an inside bar, then you get your two directional candle, whether that's to the upside or to the downside. One of the reasons why this setup is so powerful is because of one, you can find this setup on any time frame. 2, you can play this setup either to the upside or downside. 3, most of the time they will offer an explosive type of move. And 4, you can anticipate them. Here's Costco on the weekly chart, and this is a prime example of a 3-1-2 see you later. You get your outside bar followed by your inside bar, then you get your two directional candle, and you get your 3-1-2-2-2-2-2 continuation, or like I said, the 3-1-2 see you later. Now, what exactly is the 3-1-2 see you later? It's simply an expansion of the broadening formation. The outside bar creates your broadening formation, followed by the inside bar, which represents consolidation. After the consolidation, we get the two directional candle, whether it's to the upside or to the downside, and for whichever side that it breaks, as long as those participants confirm their move for the next candle, that's what causes the expansion of the broadening formation. Now, for those of you that trade the strat, you know that price action is fractal, and one of the reasons why we love this setup is because you can find this setup on any time frame on any chart. Let's take a look at another example. Here we have XLK on the daily that had the 3-1-2 see you later. You get your outside bar that takes out both sides of the range, then you get your inside bar that represents consolidation, then you get the breakout two directional to the upside, and you get your 3-1-2 see you later. This is XLK on the daily. Now remember that I said that this works for both the upside and the downside. Here's another example of the 3-1-2 see you later pattern happening for Microsoft. In this case, it happens to the downside. You get your outside bar to the upside, followed by your inside bar, then you get your two see you later to the downside. Remember how I also said that this works on different time frames. The beauty about price being fractal is that if you see the 3-1 setup on any time frame, you can play it. Let's take another example of XLK on the monthly chart. Here you can see that you have your outside bar followed by your inside bar consolidation, then you get your two directional candle to the upside. Now, for those of you that watched the magical inside bar strategy video, you know how to play an inside bar breakout. If price breaks the high of the inside bar, you know to go long and you would place your stop loss at the low of the inside bar. If price breaks the low of the inside bar, you go short and you know to place your stop loss of the high of the inside candle. The same thing applies with the 3-1 setup. In this case, you see that on the monthly chart, XLK breaks a 3-1-2 to the upside. And if you place your stop loss at the low of the consolidation candle, you don't get stopped out at all, and you could ride this trend continuously to the upside. Let's take another example. Here's Oxy on the month. And the beauty about this specific chart is that you see the 3-1-2 see you later multiple times. Here's the first time you see it. You get your outside hammer to the upside, followed by your consolidation candle, then you get your two see you later to the upside, and you proceed to go up for an additional 1, 2, 3, 4 candles before you see a reversal. Fast forward, you see another 3-1-2 see you later setup, but this time to the downside. You get your 3-1 followed by your 2 down, then you get your move all the way down. Not only that, there's another 3-1-2 see you later to the downside as well. You get your 3 outside bar followed by your inside bar consolidation shooter, then you get your 2 down directional move to the downside. Now, some people would say, oh, but what about this wick right here? But remember, you know how to trade an inside bar. If your entry was right here and your stop loss is at the high of this candle, you never get stopped out of this trade, and you can continue to add onto your position for more of a downside move. There's another 3-1-2 see you later setup. Here you have a 3 to the upside followed by your inside bar consolidation, then you proceed to go 2 down, 2 down, 2 down. Are you guys starting to get the picture? Well, we're not done yet. Here's another example, and this time here is a quarterly chart. Costco on the quarter also had a 3-1-2 see you later. You have your outside bar, which takes out both sides of the range, followed by your inside bar, and if you draw your broadening formations, this is where your broadening is, and you see that expansion on the quarterly time frame. And the beauty about this chart is that you get your 3-1-2 see you later, you get this 2 down candle. Remember how we trade an inside bar. If you had your stop loss at the low of the candle, if you chose to go long, you would have never gotten stopped out. And you could have added onto your position and proceeded to collect profit for an additional 4 quarters. See what I'm saying? Now, there is one very important thing that I do have to note about this setup, and is that this setup does not work every single time. You have to understand that. As stratters and as traders, we trade things based off of probability analysis. So if you backtest this setup and see how many times it's been able to play out in the past, we know that that increases the probability of it happening in the future. But what I want to show you is a situation where it doesn't do that 2-2 continuation in that particular direction. Let me show you XLK on the daily chart. In this example, you see that we went outside bar to the downside, followed by your inside bar, but then we get a 2 up candle, followed by a 2 down, 2 down, 2 down, 2 down. So in this example, you see that we get the directional candle move to the upside, but the follow through actually happens to the downside. Now, I still consider this a 3-1-2 see you later, but what I like to tell members is that you will see this candle, and all it is a 3-1-2 followed by a 1-2-2 continuation. So how do you trade it or how do you play it? I often tell my members that the second 2 candle is the one that you should be paying attention to and looking out for. Let's take the same example. You get your 2 up directional candle for the first 2 candle, but then you get the follow through after the second one. So this would be the second 2 candle that you are paying attention to. If we scroll back, we see another 3-1-2 see you later playing out for XLK as well. And the same thing happens in this situation. You get your 3-1-2 up, but the follow through happens to the downside. And this is the same exact situation where the second 2 candle or directional candle is foreshadowing that extended move. Now, last but not least, let's talk about SPY. Here we have SPY on a yearly chart. And for those of you that traded last year up until today, you were aware of us closing inside on the year for SPY. The year prior, we closed as an outside candle to the downside. So going into year of 2024, we were setting up for a potential 3-1-2. Now that we know, market has definitely chosen a direction, and we are now at the latter half of the year. So a question that I ask you all, if we know about the potential of a 3-1-2 see you later pattern, what is the potential that SPY can possibly do that for the year of 2025? Maybe even 2026, maybe even 2027. Who knows? We're stratters and we play what we know to be true. But I challenge you all, go back on your charts, look for 3-1 setups on any ticker, on any time frame. I promise you, more times than not, you will see a 3-1-2 see you later, and in the future, you can now use it to your advantage. The 3-1-2 see you later is one of the most explosive setups in trading, and all you need to do is find your 3, find your 1. Well, have a great day. See you later.